Hello, everybody, and welcome to the World Changing Podcast. This is Jordan Rosario, and on today's call, I have got a very special guest, a very dear friend of mine, an excellent musician in his own right that just dropped his latest single over the weekend. And if you haven't heard of it, ooh, you are in for a treat today because we are going to go ahead and talk about that particular single today. And so, without further ado, he does not need any introduction, but I will do my absolute best to introduce him. The legacy musician, Von T in the building. Von T, how you doing, my friend? It has been a while.
Good, Jordan. Good. It has been a while. I appreciate the kind words, and as I continue to develop as an artist and develop my craft, I hope that people continue to listen to my music, and hopefully I make something timeless that'll last through the ages of whatever generation of music that I happen to be barging way into. So.
And that's the beautiful thing, right? Because I know our last conversation, it took place sometime around the beginning of this year. And of course, that was on a different podcast in a different time, mind you. And it was so cool how we were both able to transition into because we had talked about a little before we recorded that we started at independent, and now you're moving forward towards the mainstream, and you're getting some of these noteworthy musicians, and we're going to talk about specifically who you got on your latest single here in just a minute. But now that you're going from this transition from independent, just doing your own work, to now getting some big time producers, being able to get yourself more of that noteworthy recognition that you absolutely deserve, by the way, because you're beautiful at what you do. Tell me what that feels like for you.
It's it's a bit of a change. There's a lot more paperwork that I guess you say, like a lot more of administrative stuff that's involved on this side. You Once you start getting closer to the top in the music and the entertainment industry, it starts to really look like a business. So I guess it's always good practice that people teach you to treat it as a business when you're just getting out there. Treat it serious. Make sure you watch what you say and watch how you treat others. Don't burn a bridge when it's not necessary. Every fight isn't worth fighting in this industry. Absolutely, I've learned that throughout my journeys. Just because it's not indie no more, so you have more than yourself to think about when you're whatever you make a statement or whatever you push out or who you might collab with. So it's been different. It's been a good different. I was used to some of these things in the civilian world before I kind of crossed over when I was a soldier. So I was used to like military politics, but then as I move forward up on this ladder, I see that the entertainment industry has its own set of politics. So it was easy for me to kind of get into that mode. I was like, oh, okay, well, I kind of already did this before, so I know what to expect on how to work with people like this, or saying a company like this. So it helped me out being able to have those skills.
Now, I remember that a lot of, what transition, and of course, we don't have to get into that. That was a different topic for a different show, and we certainly don't need to cover it now if we don't necessarily want to. But I know that a lot of what was so important, especially being an independent artist and that transition away from the military, was that state of independence, was that state of freedom for you. And so now that you've gone through now you're going mainstream. Now that we have to be careful what we say, I also have to be a lot more careful of what I say too. I know that a lot of people that may listen to the show or may listen to what I do, I know I'm attracting a much more varietized audience that I didn't necessarily envision myself in the past. And so, where do we find that balance between making sure that we're sticking with our own free thoughts, if you will, our own independence, and also at the same time being able to structure ourselves to a point where we can go ahead and act like we need to, in a sense, in order to make sure that we are that mainstream influence that we need to be.
I guess I would say like the very short answer to that would probably be, just stay true to yourself, because at the end of the day, like you don't owe your fans an answer. You don't owe your family or your friends an answer, but the only person you really owe an answer to is yourself.
Mhm.
And if you lie to yourself, you know that's no bueno. That's no good. Um, and so, with that being said, it's like in this, I feel like if you are the person that you say you are, then be that person. Because trying to live up to a facade or a lifestyle that's not about that you're not about, it becomes exhausting on top of everything else that an artist, an influencer, or an entertainer has to deal with. Everything is scrutinized. Every post that you comment on gets hundreds and thousands of views or gets pinned on somebody's Instagram profile or something. So I would say push your narrative of what makes you tick, what makes you the lovable person that everybody gravitates towards. Because when you start switching and it's not switching for yourself, that'll be hard to keep up, and I think that'll come back to bite you in the long run in your career.
I definitely believe that. Yeah, it's very important to make sure you know what you not only just stay true to yourself, but also know what your true vision is. For what what I'm doing, for what you're doing. The idea is to make sure that we're keeping it on a level to where, okay, is this what my higher self is telling me based on, there's different spiritual principles out there. We don't need to get into that, but we know that we're following what we've been ordained to do based on an eternal faith, if you will. Our eternal faith is telling us, hey, Vonti, I need you to take this direction, and this direction is going to only help you for the better.
Yeah, I agree. I agree as well. When people don't, when they don't, stay true to themselves, it becomes exhausting when you find yourself tied up in some drama, or going through a situation on top of regular life situations, like bills and personal issues, and relationship and family issues on top of your entertainment world. And then on top of that, if you're not doing that, then you're pushing, trying to maintain a facade that takes energy out of your day. And for me, I try to, I know I'm I stretch across different genres of music, and I make I like to dibble dabble in all the different genres of music that I enjoy listening to and making. But um, one common theme that I try to make sure that I stay with, and that's a positive vibe. I try to keep that as much as I can. I know I got some ratchet music that's out there, uh, but for the most part, I'm not just senselessly talking about taking somebody's life, or just pushing
Mhm.
the negative, pushing what people would expect hip hop music to be. Uh, Granted, my music has elements of that, but it's always on more of a self defense kind of thing, not a I'm just out to kind of get you kind of thing.
And that is absolutely fair because that violence, if we can talk about that in a more I don't know if constructive or positive is the right word, but it's self-defense, right? That's definitely something very important to bring about because when your livelihood is at stake, that's it's something that we need to understand that comes as a natural defense for us, and that's absolutely perfect. And speaking of the various amounts of genres that you've been a part of, speaking of the songs that you have produced, let's transition now to the song that you just produced over the weekend, which was Anything for You. It featured two-time Grammy Award-winning producer Timothy Bloom, I should say. We want to make sure we pronounce give his his full name proper justice, Timothy Bloom. And so this is the new track that you've got out there. I remember listening to it on Spotify. putting up an Instagram post saying, "You did it again, fire, fire, fire," all those great flame emojis. So what I want to know is, first, what is the song all about? And number two, take me through the process of how this particular piece of art was created.
Yeah, so the song, um, so my life is like filled with a lot of there's a lot of good things that happen in my life, but there's also a lot of bad
Mm,
things. Um, but like the spider, I usually take a lot of the bad things and I spin the web to make it work in my favor. Um, kind of like what Eminem said on one of his lyrics before in the past. Uh, and so anything for you is a love song, but it's a love song with a twist. It talks about how one lover would do anything for another lover, but it also has elements of bad anything for you in there. So if you think about it like that, it's like two sides of one coin kind of thing, where you have a lover that would do anything for their lover in a positive way that's not harmful to your life. And then you have the kind of lovers who will do anything for you, which include taking your life. And so, it all depends on the person that you end up with. So red flags are definitely important in making sure that you you choose wisely. You can't ever be 100% correct when it comes to love. I mean, that's just one of those guessing things. But there's definitely red flags to look after and take heed of. And so um, that song kind of talks about that part. How one person would do anything for one person and one person would do anything for the other. But the new person is the person that the old lover would do anything for. The old lover is doing anything for the person that they were with, but more in a negative way, trying to get them back, kind of thing. So uh, that's the storyline of that. Like I said, it comes from all my music comes from real life experiences, things that I've either been part of myself or witnessed or been closely connected to. So I try to push that out there and then hope that it can somebody else can relate to it. Um, how that song came about was really weird. First, it was supposed to have three artists that were on it. It was supposed to have a female artist that was an upcoming artist. We were kind of around the same area at the time, uh, and then obviously Timothy Bloom, who I got the pleasure of meeting in California through Ecor the Wolf. He was actually my feature on my single called Enough. And he actually introduced me to Timothy Bloom, and he actually brought me out to his house. And I was kind of shocked, I was in this man's house, and he's two-time Grammy-winning artist, got millions of views on YouTube, and has worked with some amazing artists himself. And I'm in this man's house, and he wants to work with me. I'm like, I need to strike while the iron is hot. He wants to work with
absolutely.
me. I need to get busy. So I went back to my lab and started working on a beat and started working with my producer. We came up with something that I felt like I really liked. And since I can tap into different genres of music, Timothy Bloom being an R&B artist, I was like, well, if I say I can truly tap into different genres of music, this is gonna be my first one. Is collabing with a true R&B artist, somebody with an amazing voice and skill and talent himself, and see if I can keep up with him. So uh, we came up with the track. It took a lot of turns. The female artist ended up having other obligations. She got off of it. I ended up going with him. With just him and me and him, we've been rocking with this single and knocking it out ever since. We've had bumps along the way. This track has taken turns in different directions on production dates and things to be pushed out. But at the end of the day, when it dropped without any promotion, it hit number 11 on the R&B and soul charts on iTunes. I was ecstatic about that. The result of that ended up me getting verified on Instagram.
Let's
Uh,
go.
and then ever since then, like my management been pushing and picking it up. Actually, we just started promotion on it today. It's been out since August 12th, and now we're finally fixing to push it in front of people because it's been moving on its own. like it has a life of its own. And that's the first track that I think I've seen. I've had another track place number 23 on the rap charts this year, so that's two plaques that I'm getting. But this one is number 11, and it moved on its own. The rap track, we had the hit playlist, and then pushing that out there in front of people's faces right out the gate. But this R&B track, probably due to Timothy Bloom's name, kind of took off and has had a life of its own. So it's been doing pretty good.
So, how has it changed the narrative then? Because for a lot of us, especially those who are just getting started, getting our name out there, and then building up that career, a lot of the what we have to do first is to push our own name out there, which is whether sharing our links, sharing our songs, and we plant the seeds so that we can reap the rewards later. But now you're find yourself in a spot where you've got this particular song that had a life of its own, as you said, and everyone has been able to manually check out this song and go. Now, whether that's for Timothy Bloom's name or not is not necessarily the matter be all of what we have here. You're the one that made the song. You're the one that put it on Spotify and all these other streaming platforms, and you're the one that put yourself out there to have that success where you did not necessarily manually push it. So, how does that feel to have that particular experience where instead of you having to push it out there, mainly people push it onto them or pull that song in to themselves in a way?
It's just a real feeling. I think people are very cognizant of what they want, more so now in the day and age that we live in now. You know, we're in an awoke era in the human race. So for my music to have appealed to so many people in this era is definitely it's definitely a humbling experience, I would say, because of of all of the different ways that our attention span gets pulled nowadays. The fact that I can check analytics on YouTube and see that people are watching my music video 2 minutes and 40 seconds into it before they click off and go to somewhere else, or they watch the whole thing through. And we watch these numbers jump up across all platforms. It just lets me know that I'm pushing something out there that is definitely relevant. People have seen me hustling and grinding with these tracks for a long time. I've seen nothing but a steady progression rate. I think people were just waiting for me to drop a hit single, and I think this one is it.
Well, I certainly envision that if we're gonna have more hit singles for you to come. This will not be you're not a one and done. You don't seem like that type of person to me. You seem like the guy that's going to be dropping a lot of number one signals for days to come. So I put that out there to the universe, and it has already been done. So I look forward to seeing a lot more hit singles coming from you in the near future.
Oh yeah, I plan on dropping something. I'm trying to, if the time frame works well. We're already in September, and we know that the quarter ends in December. I'm trying to push something out before the year is over with. I already pushed out the original track. It's called Long Time. It's an EDM track, but I ended up linking up with somebody out in Atlanta. One of my good homeboys goes by the name of Queso. He's a producer and an engineer, and he runs a studio out in Atlanta. He's got his paws all over a long time, and we're bouncing ideas to make an official remix, and hopefully I can push it out with some feel good EDM uh, release of the long time remix before the year is over with, just so I can hit the year off right next year, hitting festivals and all the other great things that are going to be happening in January and February, March time frame. So.
Well, when that hit single comes out, it sounds like I have to have you come back here. We're gonna have to talk about that. So when the time
We
comes,
definitely got to talk about that. For all the EDM fans and lovers out there, uh, this was one for the books. I listen to my own music a lot, so I hear it every day. So for me, I don't listen to my tracks every day, but this one I do. I I absolutely love the work that we came up with on the Long Time remix. I think I listen to it at least 3 or 4 times a day. And I know for me as a music lover and listening to all the little components that make a track, I think people are gonna love the amount of work and time and energy that went into the remix. Uh, First one was okay, but the remix is awesome.
Now, what does it say for someone? Because I also listen to a lot of my own videos nowadays. I'm a firm believer of, not just putting out the videos, editing them, and all that good stuff, throwing them out into YouTube verse and letting that be. I have a separate YouTube account where I go ahead and I listen to my own videos, and not only because I believe in myself and I want to make sure that am doing a great job to the people that I serve, certainly I would assume you would feel in the same mindset that you want to make sure you're serving your fans in the right way. But what does that do for someone who, or what does that say to someone who is thinking about their own projects and, getting comfortable with listening to yourself? Because that's not easy for a lot of people to do. It certainly wasn't easy for me in the beginning, and I have a feeling it wasn't easy for you in the beginning as well.
Oh no, it's not easy for me. I always hate looking at footage or interviews. I know what I said, but that's not the point. People need to become comfortable with it because that is that like we kind of discussed earlier. You can lie to your fans and your family and friends, but you can't lie to yourself. And the best way to get better at something, I feel like, is to record yourself, is to watch yourself in the moment. Watch your mannerisms and watch what you say. You may find something that you can improve on. I know I have all the time, whether that is an interview or whether that is a track. Whether people hear it and they're like, "Oh man, that's dope, that's hot," and then I'm listening to it and I'm like, you didn't mean to say that. You should have switched that up, or I meant to say it this way, or maybe I should have put an ad lib, or maybe this should have been an instrumental right here. Like, so I think, like, for me, as painful as it is to myself, I don't like listening or looking at myself on camera, but I do it often because it helps me hone my skills and make sure that I'm pushing out the best product. And that would be my advice to an upcomer. Get comfortable with yourself because you're gonna be with yourself for a long time in this industry. So
So we just talked. We kind of alluded to my next topic, and I believe it's very important, especially as, and of course, we don't pat ourselves in the back and understand that, hey, we're doing an amazing job, right? As far as our professions go, whether that is a legendary musician, whether that is a Forex teacher such as myself, I understand the best way to be able to become a teacher is you have to have two particular energies within yourself and balance them, which is the student energy and the master energy. As much as you want to teach, you also have to be in the position to receive the teachable information that you need to move forward. So, is there a story, a very important story in your life that you would consider a teaching moment to everybody that listens to this episode? And if you want to elaborate on that last action step that you did, we could definitely talk about that. Or if there's another action step that is just as important, let's talk about that for a minute.
yeah, like, what I would say is, um, the power of information uh, is pivotal in this. I wouldn't even say entertainment, just in life in general. It's a general concept that I feel like is easily overlooked. Because you take for instance somebody who wants to be like a dentist or something, and like, I got nieces and nephews that I've inspired to do things with their life, because whenever somebody tells me that they want to be something or they want to do something, um I always ask them. I don't tell them, "Oh, that's good, that's what's up, that's great, good job." No, I ask them, what's the steps that you're taking towards achieving that? Like, where are you at right now? Okay, you want to go to school, you want to be a veterinarian, you want to be a dentist, you want to be a doctor, you want to join the military or go to school full time. Okay, don't tell me about it. Tell me your steps. Where are you currently at? Okay, so because I feel like, if everybody had kind of like that mentality of at least taking the baby steps to get there, then I feel like then they would always, you won't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you definitely not gonna see it if you don't take any steps towards it. And so like the small things, doing your research on the computer and stuff. So for me, my experience would be just understanding, how the industry works. Like my experience would be in 2018, 17, really into 17 before I started my own label. Like as much as I wanted to get out there and release music and make my first track, I knew it was important for me to understand the importance of running my own music label as an independent artist, being that that's not how most independent artists start. They usually just start making music and pushing it out there and hoping somebody listens to it. But for me, I started with the label first, then I doubled back on the label and released my first track through myself. It kind of self catapulted myself over other artists because I was able to endorse myself for stuff like applying for Pandora pages and iHeart. So like the research portion of your journey is just as important as going through it.
That is, it's very powerful that you said that in a way that whenever if anyone has gone over my videos, especially my newer videos, you see me as I document my own trading journey step by step, day by day, brick by brick. And that's really to show not only how much I know that I could teach out to the public, but I also learn myself as I go along. We talked about recording ourselves and listening to ourselves. Whenever I do that, I'm always taking notes in the background to say, "Oh, I missed that point. Oh, I missed that point." Not to call myself out or not to tell myself I didn't do a good job. But what we do when we are researching ourselves in that manner and researching other things that we could be teaching, we're not only improving our craft, but we're also laying out a pathway. We're also laying out the work that needs to be done in order to get to the position that both of ourselves find ourselves in.
Yeah, yeah. It's like almost like a digital book, of your trials and tribulations and stuff that you've experienced or you've gone through that maybe you can stop somebody else from having to experience the full blow of because you've already kind of traveled down that road before. I know I have a lot of experience in the entertainment industry in my short, couple of years of just doing this, but I feel like I for every 10 decisions I've made 9 of the wrong ones before I made the right one. And so I have a lot of, at the end of the day, if I lose money or something in it, I have definitely have experience, and that's what I chop it up for. Is I paid money for the experience, and now I have that, and I know not to fall for that anymore. So I know that's not going to work. Let me go somewhere else. But then I also have this because I don't plan on doing this forever. Nobody lives forever, and no artist does music forever. So eventually, I do want to pass these skills and knowledge on to another artist and bring them up through the entertainment field and make their transition as easy as I possibly can as a mentor. And and with that being said, I learn a lot. I do a lot, and I make sure that I document this stuff so I can help somebody else and find me an artist that's gonna do great things with music and carry on that symbiotic legacy.
And that's all we want to do for our own paths, right? We want to take our experience, what's been working for us, what hasn't, and turn those years, decade, months, you ever want, whatever you want to call it, on your own path, and convert them for someone who's going to be following in our own footsteps, and turn that into days for them. And I believe that is super important, super powerful to everyone that's listening.
Yeah, it definitely is. I flirted with the idea with management and my PR to come up with the independent artist kind of like a workbook or workshop or a program that they can they can purchase because throughout my entertainment career, I can honestly say like I was indie through and through. Like I funded my own business. I created my own brand. I wrote my own music, performed my own tracks, made 98% of the decisions that I made to get to the point where I was at. Got verified on IG, SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, iHeart, and all these things that I did, I did research for it first. That's why I go back to the research, to find out, what check marks, because there's no blueprint on how to get those things, but there are examples out there of what works and what doesn't. And I did the research for it. So I figured out, what I needed to do. And that kind of just goes back to show, how serious you are about your craft. Like, are you serious about your craft? Or are you just here to pass time?
Exactly. And I could tell that the both of us, we don't want to pass time. We want to pass knowledge and make sure that people have an easier path to where they're going in life, following people who have done it before. And I hope we could be, if we can't put an analogy to it, and this might date me a little bit, if we can go back to Scooby Doo, we want to be the I guess the monsters, if you will, where the gang catches us in about a second because we gave them all the clues already. Like, just
That
cut the
part.
episode, make that into about a minute. But anyway, that's another story for another day. All right, Von T, this has been an absolutely amazing time for you, and I definitely appreciate you, especially on a very early Monday morning. I know how that feels like coming on and talking with me today and having just another amazing conversation with you. Von T, I need to know, the people desire to know where they can go ahead and check you out.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me here on this Monday. I'm always up early though, so it really didn't matter because I'm about to get ready to work out. Got to keep my body fit, you know what I'm saying, while I'm on stage and stuff. So I'm about to get ready to go work out after this. But social media, yeah. So I'm on every major music streaming platform and some of the minor ones too. You can find me on the Von T, BON-T, on all of my social media platforms. I'm under Kovu 1278, Kovu 1278 across all social media platforms. I do have a TikTok challenge that is out for my new single, Anything For You. There's $500 on the line for any influencers or creators who want to get involved in that. They're encouraged to DM me early, DM hashtag A4U challenge to any of my social media platforms. If I don't answer, somebody else will. How the challenge works: the traffic is gonna get drawn to your page. Whoever gets the most gets the cash. No BS, no gimmicks, no anything like that. The competition will go on for a month. The video stays up for all the way until the end of this year. You drive traffic. I get the results. That's the winner. They get announced, get posted on all of my social media platforms. You get the money to your Cash App or your PayPal, whatever the case may be, and that's that. So yeah, they can find me on all these social media platforms if they're interested in getting involved in the challenge. I would recommend you DM me early because we don't have a date that it starts yet. So the more work that you can do now, the better. And then yeah, stream the new single and give me your honest feedback. Let me know what you guys think. If it's something that I should be continuing to do down the R&B road, then let me know. I'm going to continue to reach out and make more music with R&B, but definitely take a listen and be on the lookout for new singles that's coming. Website is coming soon. I'm actually working on those details this morning after I work out. So I've already got it all drafted up on a blueprint right now. So I have my own personal website that's going to be coming. That's going to happen. It's going to be its own personal hub, kind of like my link tree, where people can go everything Von T, including merchandise.
Awesome, awesome. And everybody, now for this contest, this episode, I can promise you, is going to be posted on September 17th, so this Saturday. So at the time that you listen to this episode, you still have a month to get in and get yourself a very nice $500. Here's your chance. And also, more importantly, a chance to shine and show off your creativity and show off your artistry as well. Von T, once again, thank you so much for coming on to the show. Do know that this is not the last time that you are going to be back here. This may be your first time, but this will not be the last time. And I envision it will be on the same podcast. It won't be under another podcast name or anything like that.
So yeah, I look forward to it, and congrats on the Forex journey. I know a lot of people have been going down that road, and I know there's risk involved in it, but people who can come out on top of it and learn what they need to learn and get some money, hey, I'm all for it. I support it.
Hey, and the beautiful thing is that for those who are watching this particular episode that are, of course, here for the legendary Von T, and you are also wanting to get some interest in what I do as a Forex trader journey, check out my YouTube videos. They are 100% free, and they show me document the process step by step. I'm here for you guys. My purpose in life is to serve those and make sure they have an opportunity to carve their own path and to generate their own resources to carve out said path. Once again, this is Jordan Rosario of the World Changing Podcast. And as always, be great, be blessed, and be the person that you want to be to change the world. Thank you, everybody.